Jim Alexander here with Judith. Judith, can you tell me your last name? I don't want to butcher it or say it wrong or anything from the start.
It's so funny because it seems to be stressing everyone.
Yeah?
Yeah.
My take would be Godreche.
No, that's not okay.
I knew it, right. I had to take a stab at it. So.
No, you can't pronounce the E at the end because it's
Godreche.
silent E in French. You know, it's like Godreche.
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 Godreche. I might get it by the end of this whole thing. But I'm glad that you
I actually like
the tense
Americanized version of my name, Godreche. I'm like, oh yeah, that's
Godreche?
Some people said Judith Godreche. I'm like, okay, why not?
It sounds fancy though.
It sounds super fancy,
like
yeah.
Aristocratic, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you? How long have you been in the U.S.? Because you're from France originally.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paris, right?
Yeah.
So.
It's been 5 years. I moved 5 years ago when I sold.
A wine yard. Did you sell a wine yard to move?
I sold a wine yard to HBO.
Perfect.
No, I sold a TV show, an ID. I mean, a pilot or whatever to HBO, an ID, and then stayed here to write the pilot and like. And then it didn't happen. But so I kind of through the process like. Found myself living here, and then my kids, started being have their life here, and then things happened, and now I'm here, basically.
Yeah, it's tough to take the kids out once they get adjusted.
It's a shortcut to say that I'm living here.
Yeah.
Once they're adjusted, you're not gonna say, "Hey guys, now that you have your life here,"
and friends and
yeah,
that's tough to move. So, I mean, you've had a career already in France before coming here with acting.
Hopefully.
I think so. I mean, if it wasn't, then it worked out now because we're talking about the film in that way. So that's good. But how was it like the adjustment for you for coming from France and doing the acting there? I'm sure it's different. The industry and the films are even different than here. What was the adjustment like for you coming here from kind of being established out there and at least aware of what it's like out there?
I mean, honestly, I think that the real difference I experienced when I worked on American films and French films is really when I did movies like The Man in the Iron Mask or huge, machines where you feel you're really part of an industry. It's very...
like the sets are so elaborate.
Yeah, it's like... and this for me had nothing, I never experienced such, a big feeling of a big part of a big machine like that when I worked on French films. But when I did the movie with the Duplass brothers or indie films, I feel, and French films are pretty similar. I think what I really, what I found extremely exciting and, it's the ability you have here to make an indie film and actually go sell it, if you get into Sundance, because suddenly you can make a film that does not need distribution, in the beginning. Like in France, it's really hard to produce a film that does not have a distributor involved.
Attached already.
Attached.
Okay.
And so, we don't have Sundance. I mean, there are French films going to Sundance, but it's pretty rare, and we don't have that. I think Sundance is literally, it's magical. And, that's one of the things here that I found extremely inspiring in the indie world, because you can just...
So many festivals. Every city almost has
I mean, there's literally people going, Sean Baker, who came... what if Sundance did not exist? What if,
my God. We wouldn't see so many movies and so many filmmakers and talent. It's just, and now with the streaming too, that gives another avenue, and you have so many good indie companies like The Orchard, that produce such quality films.
Yeah.
I was just thinking Flower, I love that movie, it's right behind the poster over here too. I'm just thinking about so many movies that are being seen now that maybe, 20 years ago weren't able to be seen. Because of the, people had to have the network, big studio behind it, or else you're not seeing the day of light.
Yeah.
So I could see that being a big helping point, for a film. And we spoke already, so for those of you who haven't seen the interview, we're going to hit back some of these points, but you did everything in your possibility to make this movie happen. Producing it. Tell me more again about the process and how did it start who was the first person you went to help you finance it?
Oh, it was those guys. Actually, I was offered this film, and I was like, oh yeah, it's cute. It's probably never going to happen, basically. And there's a lot of script that you read and you're like, it's not gonna get financed, like, but whatever. And one day my boyfriend at the time took me to an escape room, and I was like, I actually did not know what it was, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play it cool. And
you're a good girlfriend that just goes along with whatever.
I'm the French girl in town. I'm like, whatever that is, but I'll do it. Yeah, of course. And then we were actually meeting with Matt Walsh and his wife, which I did not know, and
was this like a setup meeting?
Yeah, no, there was like we were doing the escape room together
okay.
with another couple. I think it was Ken Marino and his wife. And
you need more people because it's tough to figure that whole thing out.
And we were in the escape room. The whole time I was pretending I was looking for clues because I really was completely lost, and I was like, no, I can't just say, oh, whatever. Because
everyone's so into it, right?
I can't be blasé and French and be like, well, I'll sit down and read. I was like, oh yeah, I'm looking. And I was obviously finding nothing.
Yeah.
And but I met Matt, and I was like, hey, are you in this movie that is probably never gonna happen? He was like, yeah, are you in it too? I'm like, yeah, and we laughed about the fact that
you guys had no confidence in this to begin early on.
Because it's hard to finance films, and I said, hey, why don't I help it happen, or why don't we try to make it happen? And I have this amazing relationship with the Orchard since I played in this movie that they distributed, The Overnight.
The Overnight, yeah, I've seen it. Good movie.
Yeah, and I know that, we wanted to work together again, and they had never produced or financed a film, and I was like, hey guys, like, I have the perfect script for you, and we're going to have amazing actors, and David Wayne, and people that you love are going to be in it, and Matt Walsh, and we kind of like make it like this incredible recipe that they could not say no to. And I started getting some money from them and realized it wasn't enough, and a little more like, it was just like a crazy
budget. You start realizing all the things that go into it.
And also, I started realizing that I was going to be liable for. I did it out of my living room, literally. I was in my pajamas all day on the phone, kind of looking at numbers and thinking, oh God, I need to buy glasses because I can't see
And you're
anything.
new to this. You haven't done this before, too,
Oh, no, I've never done this.
So this is like a learning experience at the moment.
Yeah. And I had to hire a line producer in France and a French crew. And I think that's really when things somehow became easier, is when French people started being involved and giving me amazing favors. Like the Chateau de Beauregard, the vineyard where we shot,
beautiful location,
was for free for 3 weeks. Wow. And this movie could have not been made if this wasn't the case.
It's a character in a movie, that vineyard. It's like
absolutely.
A huge part of this movie.
Absolutely, yeah. So it really is like a lot of happy coincidence or miracles, and then the incredible boldness of the head of the Orchard and his head of acquisition, Danielle DiGiacomo, and Paul Davidson, who's the head of the Orchard, like the way they're like crazy about cinema and have this open mind thing of like, okay, let's give her a chance, let's go for it.
You gotta be bold. Sometimes you just have to be bold.
You gotta be bold, and it's hard because when you get what you want from someone, then you feel like, okay, I can't disappoint them. It's like
big responsibility.
It's one thing to get the money, then you're like, okay, now,
that trust and faith that they had in you, you want to repay it to them. I understand that, and that's a big that's even more of a, in a sense, more important, meaningful than the money in itself, because these are people who believe in you, that giving you a chance. You want to do them right. In that sense.
Absolutely. And it's also, you actually sign some papers,
Well, yeah, I'm sure. It's like you are under contract and liable for it all. It's like, oh damn, I can't get out of this one anymore. So then you've asked favors locally, and you can see it at the end of the movie. There's so many special things too.
Honestly, there's so many favors. Like, most of the locations were free. We had favors from the Eiffel Tower ourselves.
Yeah, I was wondering how you guys got around that whole.
You just have to film. There's actually someone who works for the Eiffel Tower, who's actually a person who works, comes from the movie industry, and literally, everyone wants to shoot in the
Right, it's such an iconic spot, and especially any romantic movie. It's like, first idea right there.
Yeah. So we got a lot of favors and an incredible crew and a team of actors that were there for the right reasons, and we we were so close to each other. It was almost like a writer's room, you know, like people were all Michaela Watkins is a genius and came up with the funniest line for her character. You know, it was a lot of like people putting themselves.
And there's room for improvisation and ideas.
Yeah.
It's collaborative in that
Yeah,
sense.
exactly.
That makes it so much more intimate and personal in that way. If everyone has to say, I feel like everyone then feels that they're actually a part of the project, not just like.
I also think that what creates somehow, you know, the edge of the film, or like, you know, because the structure of it and the setup, this was pretty classical and, you know, could have been kind of stiffed and a little fake or a little like, you know, like an idea kind of more plot based, right? And I think that the fact that we improvised a lot and there were a lot of actors rewriting their lines, or there was something very authentic and
personal too. Everyone brought their own flavor to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is nice. So you're in Paris, basically. You must have been a host for everyone, right? In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So you're like a tour guide. How was that experience like having, you know, people from America, in a sense, American actors in a lot of ways too, and being a host of your own country and hometown? How did that feel for you, and just kind of showing around in a sense for everyone?
I mean, it was nice, and you know, it was also some crazy situations where, you know, we were on some locations and we had to leave because we promised that we would leave at a certain time, and then when it was like 7 p.m. we were still shooting, and I literally had to like physically block like the owner of a restaurant.
Oh my god.
Because I wasn't in the scene, I was in my producer costume that day, and this guy was like, you said 7, and like they were still shooting the scene inside, and it was like, don't go in, no, they're shooting, please, like.
Which scene was this?
It was the scene where Matt Walsh, Dylan Galula, Michaela Watkins, and David Wayne are having dinner in this fancy French Parisian restaurant in the beginning, and this guy was so generously, you know, gave us the restaurant to shoot for free until 7 p.m., which is totally, you know, normal because he has reservations.
Probably customers and reservations, that's right.
And at 7, we still had like 4 shots left or something, and he was like, you need to get out in French. Vous devez partir, vous m'avez dit 7 heures. I was like, no.
Even if you don't understand French, you probably knew what was going on at that point. You know, everyone around.
Yeah, it was really intense, honestly. I cried a lot. There was a lot of tears. There was a lot of despair, but joy. It was, you know, it was a crazy experience, and I don't think it was
an emotional one.
Because I don't think it was my kid's best summer, honestly.
Because you told me they were part of the movie, right?
Yeah, my daughter is she works in the bakery.
Yep, the girl that gives you these looks. I love that moment where she kind of stares at you. It's like I remember that vividly.
Yeah, and then my son plays guitar in the film, and you know, my dad, who's a psychoanalyst, a shrink, was the still photographer. My mom was helping was a scout location, but like was helping and would like go talk to people and convince them that we should shoot in their place, or, you know, like everyone, my friends, my son's friends. So
there's no one that wasn't in this movie, basically, that you know of. That's fantastic. How did the kids like it? How did they like?
I think. Well, my daughter wants to be an actress and obviously has been doing some little stuff before, and like my son is a musician, so, you know, I think that everyone was contributing in his own way, but it was the summer, which is, you know, for a family, the moment where you relax. I mean,
in Europe it's different. Like I grew up in Europe. I grew up in Poland. So
you did. I'm also from Poland and Russia.
Really?
My grandparents,
Oh my God, small world. Yeah, I grew up there. I mean, I was born in the States, but I moved there when I was 3. But I was there from age 3 to 12. So I was there for all my childhood and growing up. Every year, summer family vacations to Italy, Austria, Czech Republic, all over. Like, that's the thing you do in Europe. You take like a month or so, and you just go. I have great memories. I never got to France. It's the one spot my family never took us to. Yeah, that's one thing I've always wanted to do, and I still haven't. So, yeah.
I mean, I think my kids were like, I was like, it's going to be awesome. We're going to be in Bordeaux, in a house. It's going to be like a holiday. We're going to work the entire summer, but it's totally going to be a holiday. And my kids were like, you're stressed, you come back like you write at night, you like don't sleep, you're exhausted, you don't even have dinner with us. I think that, you know, it was not a holiday at all, but it was an experience and I'm proud of it. So
well, it's memorable. Everyone's gonna remember that summer now, you know, that they were in the film and then that production took place. How long did the movie take to make completely?
You mean like from pre-prod to...
From like the start of the shoot to the end. How long of a shoot was it?
Oh, it was a 3.5 week.
Oh, that's quick.
Oh yeah.
That's
why it was so intense and stressful. Because
that's a month. Oh, not even a month.
It's an under-financed film for, you know, the movie should have costed more. Like we basically made it for an amount of money that is like under what it costed. Like, you know. So everything needed to be like a constant fight to get it done.
Yeah, extra shots, more hours in a sense to just get all that stuff in there.
Yeah, like steal some shots in like an area where you're not supposed to shoot because you have to pay, or like you just like with a camera.
Is anyone around? No.
Yeah, the DP's like, and the actors are running, go, let's do it, and the actors like, oh.
I love that. You know, I liked how you incorporated the train scenes. I felt it was a very European touch on it, but also kind of an intimate, because a train car is an intimate space.
Yeah.
And I felt like a lot of the discussions, and especially the final scene, it happens. We're in a place where you can't kind of escape, but you're forced to be face to face. It makes it a very intimate moment, and also in the back of your mind, it's like you're traveling somewhere too.
Yeah.
How important was it to you to incorporate the train scenes in that way?
I mean, you know, the director, I didn't come up with the train scene. I mean, we actually come up with Matt with the ending train scene, like thinking it would be nice to end the film in the train, like it began between them. But the initial like beginning train scene, like the director, you know, when we started like quoting it and asking for prices, I was like, oh my God, like I was talking to the director and say, oh shit, I shouldn't just shit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, like we, maybe we're gonna have to do it in a bus. I was like, oh my God, no, we can't do this in a bus.
Chaotic,
and you know, I know how important it was for him, and obviously it is important, but yeah, I think he has, you know, he had this very like, you know, romantic vision, you know, of friends and train and like, you know, and in the initial script, like my character was completely undressing in the train in front of everyone, and I was like, I understand French women are really open-minded, but
not that open-minded.
I was like, not sure. I mean, you know, it could be an interesting character, like who's so kind of like I don't care, like but you know,
very
like,
open.
Yeah, very open. Would be hard to ground her after that scene.
Yeah. Even though she is open, she's very forward in the sense where she initiates a lot of because the guys are kind of like initially, you know, she makes the move with them too. I like that in a sense. It's very like she's a strong woman and goes after what she wants in that way, totally. and takes initiative. You know.
Exactly.
And I like that too. I had to ask you, like, you were seen with a glass of wine almost in so many scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
Did you become like a wine expert after this movie?
I mean, honestly, we were drinking the Chateau de Beauregard wine. Because not only the owner would leave us work on it, like shoot in his vineyard, but he would he would like...
Just
I was like, give it up, come on. And you know, usually on films they give you grape juice.
Yeah, because it looks similar in that way.
It's so bad.
This was real. So you guys were actually drinking it and
most of the time,
enjoying yourself.
Yeah, most of the time. Not always, because like, you know, I don't drink wine at lunch or during the day because it makes me sleep or... I would rather be able to work and produce, but sometimes when we would shoot at night or it's the end of the day and there's a scene, like I would be like, can I have real wine, please?
After all those stops
can I be French? For God's sake, can I just be French?
Is there anything that stands out to you? Like I'm sure there's so many memories on a film like that's intimate in so many ways with the cast and crew, but anything that stands out to you, either offset or onset, that kind of meant something to you especially more?
I think that, you know, there's this scene at the end where he comes to get the girl, like he's, you know, like classical romantic comedy scene. And I thought Matt was super touching because we were kind of struggling with the ending, and the scene needed some rewrites, and there was no time. And anyway, he ended up having to improvise his whole speech.
Wow.
There's only a tiny bit left in the film, but he literally, there's like a really long Matt Walsh speech. To me, to Louise, about why he loves her, and this was entirely improvised by Matt.
Wow.
And so it was kind of like, okay, go on.
You see what you got, Matt.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. If he's
Show
giving
me
these
the money.
speeches, then he must not be lacking in the romantic
I'm like,
department.
oh, and what else? Oh, interesting. Let's do another.
Oh, wow. That's a
But
good...
so it's obviously not easy to improvise.
No.
And end, like, it's just...
It's got to be from the heart, too, in a lot of ways, too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's for the characters, but this is, like, a vital part of the movie that, like, wraps kind of things up.
Yeah.
And, it actually leads me to... I like the ending in a sense. It's open-ended in a lot of ways, too.
Yeah.
There's a potential for... It's kind of like... It for me, it felt very realistic to life. It's like, we don't know where they're going. They're going to give this a try.
Yeah, exactly.
But we don't know where this is going to go. And
Yeah.
that's kind of with life. You just, two people are together and they want to be together, but you don't know how it's going to end up.
Yeah, true.
And sometimes in movies, it's like, you kind of like, oh, there's the wedding and, all that right away. But this felt very authentic to me watching this because I'm like, I like how open-ended it is and it's open interpretation because probably the characters don't know what's going to happen. Did you ever have a thought like, where you saw these characters going in the future or an idea where you wanted them to?
No, I mean, we thought of a lot of version, even the one where she actually arrives in Kentucky. And
I was wondering where that would happen, like, greet you with KFC.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
Yeah.
I would die.
It's like, no, I'm gonna go back to France.
But no, I don't really know where they're going, and I just like the idea of this two characters, and like maybe that don't fit on paper, like it's like you might not.
Yeah, because on the surface, like they don't kind of fit in, but it's kind of through their imperfections in a lot of ways that they bond, and she sees his imperfections too, and his things that he's good at that people don't notice maybe. But yeah, you wouldn't kind of like, on paper be like, oh, this is a perfect couple. Looking at them, they would be together, and that's kind of, that makes it realistic too, because sometimes just people who maybe aren't the most perfect match are actually a match for a lot of different ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that makes life.
I have nothing to add to that.
No, that's fine. No need it. This is a romantic movie at its heart, because and a human story too in a lot of ways. And people are different characters here and different points of view in life too that they're in. I wondered, what's kind of your take on? You get the connection with France, and it's Paris, city of romance. What's your kind of take on love and like, just how do you approach it in your own life? What do you even look for in someone? Like, what are some things that really connect to you or resonate to you about someone that really?
I mean, I think that the word romanticism is almost like, sounds a little cliche or vulgarized or overused. Like there's something about it and you're like, it's cheesy, but I actually do appreciate a form of passion or, spontaneous, like surprising, like,
Going to an escape room.
But like something that is not, that doesn't absolutely fit with the schedule or the plan or the ideal version of life, like.
Because sometimes like.
I think that French people are somehow more into love than into work.
True.
I mean, who would not like skip a day at work to like have sex or?
I mean, what else would? Yeah.
But I remember one time I dated an American guy.
And there must be a difference between American and French guy.
Years ago, I dated this guy, and he was very handsome and very successful, and I guess everything that someone would want.
On paper, once again.
Exactly.
Sounds good.
And we spent the night together. first night that I sleep over at his place, and the night when we fall asleep, he puts his wake up call on, and I'm like, it was on a Saturday night, right?
Oh,
and I was like, but
where
you're not
do you
working
wake
tomorrow.
Church maybe on Sunday?
No, he was gonna go running, cause he needs to go running every Sunday at 5 a.m. or something. And I was,
so LA.
and I was like, what? I'm like, and I'm the French woman. I'm like, running? What does that even mean? I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, running? Like, are you in a rush? No, you're jogging. You're like, running. And I was like, but I don't understand. Like, didn't we just have sex? Like, doesn't that count for
Yeah, isn't that like a moment and like, wow.
So I guess I was like, oh, okay, got it. Like, never again. Like, anyone.
It's like the schedule was more important than the moment.
Yeah,
in that
the
sense.
schedule, the things that you have to do, like your vision of your life. Like, and I think it's the same thing with ambition. I feel that French people might be less ambitious, but it might leaves more space to like be spontaneous and do things that are out of the box.
Live life and appreciate life. And that's we talked about the European vacation thing too. Like, people in Europe allow themselves to go on a vacation. Here it's just like, I have 2 weeks or like 7 days and get back to work. Like, people are so task oriented and focused. It's a detriment in a way, because you can still find the time to do these things and enjoy life.
Yeah,
and it's like when you have a schedule, and it's like, I can imagine you're like, oh, I'm a priority here. Like, the jog is more important than me. Like, what kind of impression does that put?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah, that story didn't go well.
No, I can't imagine.
I think it actually ended that day.
I would hope so. It's like, hey, go on your run and
I mean,
enjoy.
to be honest, you had incredible abs. I was very impressed by those muscles, but it's not like
that disappears after that.
Yeah, and I don't care about muscles anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there's there's not much more to it, then yeah, there's just so much you can do and go. Because you just lose interest after, like, quickly.
Yeah.
If someone it's important to show someone value, especially initially on. Guys, don't do this. This is just like bad precedent. But yeah, I understand that. And I grew up in Europe, but I spent most of my life in Chicago, Midwest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I moved to LA actually in June. So I'm still new here, and I'm noticing all these things. And this is so true. Like, people's schedules and things just prevent them from. It's like, oh, I want to find a relationship. I want to find love. Like, do you really? Because if you do, it's like, oh, you live 7 miles away. That's too far. I want someone within like 2 miles of me. It's like,
are you kidding?
Oh my God, it happens all the time. It's like,
that's crazy.
Dating is insane.
No, dating is insane for sure.
Yeah, especially out here in a sense where everything is supposed to be like perfect and so convenient, to the other person. It's like, and life
which
just
is impossible because nothing
impossible.
is really convenient in LA.
No, it's like you can realistically find someone within your neighborhood.
What is your neighborhood?
Studio City.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, oh no, I won't date anyone outside of Hollywood. It's like, oh really? Damn. It's like, good luck finding love. It's like, oh, I'm looking for love. It's like, not quite, because it's like, I have all these other priorities and that. So it just puts you into perspective. It's like, is that what you really want?
I mean,
are
you
would put
looking
more
for
effort.
a gym or like a class, which should be not too far from you, right?
It's like,
or a boyfriend.
One needs more effort and time into it, I would think.
Yeah.
So it's crazy in that way to think about it. Like, and I'm a romantic. Like, I actually believe in that thing.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's always important to do the small things in relationships.
Yeah, I agree.
Like the small things, like the small little things. Like a trip to the grocery store can be romantic with the right person.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's like, or even like writing a card or something small.
Yeah.
It's just these things that matter instead of the extravagant, big dinners or big things, gestures. The small things make you
just reinvent life all the time.
Yeah.
Just like, don't think that nothing's written. It's your choice and kind of task to make life a bit better and inspiring and creative.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be creativity in a relationship.
Absolutely.
But coming from someone who writes and like, it is hard for me to imagine a relationship where there's no common like some sort of creativity.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
you at least understand the other person,
Yeah.
you know, in that sense. I think that's like a very underrated part. It's like creativity, communication, those are things that matter, you know, in a lot of ways. And people lack in a crazy way, don't talk about it. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a key to the thing. I think Matt's character, Stuart, learned some of these things along the way too,
Yeah,
you know, in the
yes,
movie.
yeah.
In a lot of ways. What are some things you enjoy doing for fun? Like, do you have any hobbies or like special interests that you really enjoy doing to kind of get away from even the entertainment world?
I mean, I love going to the movies, obviously.
Okay.
I love traveling, but you know, I'm not a big fan of 5-star hotel and a beach, and that's
Like the planted kind of holiday where it's like everything's in one place.
I'm not a beach person in the sense of like standing, like lying down in the sun.
Me neither. I can't do it.
I like to travel. I like to discover, new countries, new places. I like to, I like to write. I like to read.
To creative stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm like music. I don't know. Like my son is a musician.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's a dancer. So that's a big part of my life, and that's somehow obviously, as I'm a single mom, is taking me is kind of recentering the real things.
Yeah.
The
That's
things,
the most important.
But it's interesting because they are artists too, and my daughter is obviously an actor. She's in the movie too, but. It's interesting to see like my son on stage and how his relationship to music and jazz and guitar and and he's such a purist. He does not negotiate with his art, and I was like that too.
Personal.
I had to compromise. It's like, and I think that's a big thing about becoming an adult or. Like compromising, it's sadly is teaching you life.
Yes, yeah.
Like it's very hard to stay the purest, like kind of idealist.
Because outside factors will just get in the way for that.
Yeah.
Do you think they got the creative kind of artistic side from you? I mean, in a lot of ways. Because I mean, you must have allowed them. I mean, I'm guessing they grew up in a household where. They were allowed to pursue whatever they're interested in.
Yeah.
Because it seems like your daughter's a dancer and your son's a musician. So it seems like they had the freedom in a lot of ways. Because a lot of times in American kind of, families and kids, like they're forced to like do sports. And the parents just like push them to do certain things. And sometimes the kids don't even like that.
Yeah, my kids, like you put any balls in their hand, and they're like, there's a sport with balls. They're like, what? What am I missing? What?
Just not right there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Literally, it's just super funny. You put my daughter in a game, and you're just having a blast. It's like it's it's becoming a comedy. It's
just so unused to it.
It's like we don't do sports basically. There's no sports. I mean, besides dancing and things like that. But sports, no.
But they were able to pursue that. That's the cool thing is that they weren't forced to do something.
Oh, no.
Like I see families sometimes, kids like, oh, you need to do this because I did that, or sort of thing.
Of course.
Here, having the freedom, I think it's such a growing experience for them. I'm sure, to be able to do what they love and enjoy, and not be forced to do anything else like that.
They were forced to be artists.
Yeah.
You
need to be a dancer. Pick one of these. You're a dancer or a musician, okay? No other options. That's great, though.
Yeah.
And so, what is that? I mean, you mentioned being kind of a single mother. How has that kind of made you the person you are in a lot of ways? Seeing your kids grow up and kind of living through them in a lot of ways. How has that kind of shaped you, who you are right now?
I mean, I'm sure, and it's not that I can precisely formulate it, and but I am sure that when I had to produce this film, because I'm a single mom and because I know what it is to raise kids on your own and kind of go through this path of I'm sure that it gives me a certain strength and ability to survive through this process, to be yeah, I think that, I learned a lot, and, I went through a lot, and, like, it's a lot of struggling and joy and responsibilities and like things, and I think that
kind of like raising kids in a lot of ways too.
exactly.
Just the stakes aren't as high in that way. Well, that's unbelievable. That's so interesting to put, that having that experience, you can relate it to other fields too, and
I mean, I also think that, raising a son, I have a son and a daughter, but like I think that raising a son teach me a lot about men and like about, I do believe, and it's such a common thing that we hear all the time, but obviously it's raising kids makes you a better person, like, because you can't be the center anymore.
Yeah,
and I think
your life isn't about you anymore. It's about the kids.
And it shouldn't be all the, it's like you need to find time for yourself too, and be about yourself, because otherwise you just
you can't be completely committed.
Yeah, but it definitely recenters you, and you see a lot of things, including being an actress, and where you stand, and in the in the hierarchy of actors, and where that becomes very like the relationship to fame and success becomes
not as significant or important in that sense.
No.
You see, that's what it puts values and perspective in life.
I
Like
think
what's
so.
important in life and what's, losing out on a role, it's not life changing.
Yeah.
Because there's bigger, more important things. I think when you're younger, you kind of see things like, oh, this is life or death kind of thing, you know. But then when you grow older and you go through life and have these experiences, then you understand that this stuff is not.
I mean, for me, working is to definitely bringing food to the table.
Well, of course.
And raising my kids and putting them in school, like it was, like definitely, like I know that my job is to be providing for them. So it also like push you to make decisions that make you, if you had like there's like you need to provide, that's like, so it's interesting because you still want to do the best you can and make choices that are close to who you are, and and respect your taste and all of that, but you also need to like raise your kids. So
it's a balancing act.
It is.
That way. You mentioned movies. What sort of movies do you like watching? Is there anything? I mean, anything lately you've even seen? I know we're kind of now in awards season. There's a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah, I loved Cold War.
The Polish movie, that was resonating with me. Right, so I'm like, okay, I'm familiar with this stuff. I was glad to see it. Such a good movie.
Oh yeah.
And what puts it also in perspective, how many great European films now, I'm glad they get a chance and opportunity to be seen. Now, a movie like Cold War and Roma are being mentioned now, along with the Hollywood kind of studio movies, that now you get to see these foreign films that are getting their time and light of day among the other big budget ones.
Yeah, I loved Cold War. What else have I seen recently? I loved eighth grade.
8th grade, yep.
I don't know. Yeah, Cold War was really. I mean, I think she is the movie. Like, I mean, the movie is a masterpiece and is incredibly well shot, and it's very pure. I use the word. It's probably better when you speak French to use the word in this context, but it's raw. There's this thing. There's no
distractions in that way, right?
Compromises.
It's pure in that
it's not compromising. Yes. Like, that's what I like about films in general. But I think she's a landscape. Like, her face, you would just want to film her. There's something so beautiful in her, and in a good way. But so I love that film, and
I think those are two really good choices. I still enjoyed A Star Is Born.
Yeah, I did too, actually. Yeah. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I was super surprised by it.
It was powerful in a lot of ways too. And the ending. It was funny because you mentioned I was at a Writers Guild event last night, and I interviewed the writer for A Star Is Born, Eric Roth, and then Bo Burnham from 8th grade too.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, these are perfect timing kind of to talk about it. And they spoke about these movies kind of being personal to them, and in a lot of ways how they needed to be reinvented too, to be kind of understood for this generation too. In a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of ways, that's what it's come down to. A lot of times too, it's like movies that fit different kind of generations. Like romance is, in a lot of ways, a movie like this, like Under the Eiffel Tower, it's not common anymore. We're losing out romantic movies in a lot of ways. Like,
Yeah.
there was a time where you always get every year a romantic
I mean,
movie.
The
Now
Big Sick was a really great.
it was a really great
Yeah.
one, but it's now becomes like this kind of independent
Yeah,
genre in
yeah,
a way.
totally.
You know, not a studio thing. And I feel like a lot of quality romance is being made when it's being made now.
Yeah.
When you have a movie like this, and it's like you can be authentic with it, and you can be more personal with it than before. You would have, like you mentioned, all those distractions and the things that come with like a bigger budget and things you need to do. I think you can be more personal with romantic movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What is something that you would want to do, role-wise or film-wise, going forward? Is there anything that maybe you haven't done or like itching to do?
I mean, honestly, I would love to do more comedies where I'm allowed to improv, because that's really when, there's this kind of chemistry with the actor, like I had with Jason Schwartzman on The Overnight, or Matt Walsh in this movie, like.
And they're good both individually. They're very good improv and comedic actors to begin with.
I feel like that's an amazing way for me to express myself and be creative and being inspired. And also, like in America, like acting in a different language. For some reason, I feel like I'm actually more comfortable.
Really?
When I can improv, or when I can bring, a form of humor and absurdity, or like, I want to say maybe just authenticity, like something, like I just love that. And, and also I haven't really done a drama for a while, and I would love to do a real drama and something very, something where, there's another side of me that I can just use, or, so, yeah. I mean, I guess so that's two completely opposite things.
Yeah, but that's good. You want to, like, do two different things, kind of put yourself in two different places in that time, too, not just one specific thing.
Yeah.
You're open to possibilities in that sense, right?
Exactly.
Is there a difference for you, like you mentioned, doing French films and American, even with the language thing? How is that for you at this point in your career? Is there a preference, or are you very comfortable with both?
I'm very comfortable with both, even though I think I would really suck at doing like NCIS. Or if you put me like in a room and I have to play like a surgeon, and like there's an emergency and I have to say all those medical words and be like, oh, I did the thing, but it's like this, it's like lobotomy, like did it work because the cervix was behind the scortex, and like,
That's already sounds like a big surgery and operation right there. Yeah, I can't imagine wanting to do that really on the part, especially since you're at a point in your career where you know what you're good at,
Give me the blood sucker. No, faster. Give me the blood sucker. It's not pumping. Give me this thermostat. What's the temperature?
You need to read like 3 books before you even take the role to do like a scene, right? You have to go through all these medical classes probably.
Honestly, think that it's a talent to be able to like do super matter-of-fact scenes and be good. I think I suck at it. No, I suck at like a super like, okay, so I'm gonna tell you the thing about the thing and the thing about the thing and the thing. Like very literal kind of expository scenes. I think I suck. Like,
it doesn't make it authentic for you.
Message. Like, I'm not gonna get more jobs. Like, this is just maybe like.
She can do it all. You speak 2 languages. Who can do that, right?
But I think I really like. Yeah. For some reason, there was a time when I moved here. Where I got a lot of. I was sent to a lot of auditions to play a Russian prostitute.
Why? What made them think
like
that?
A glamorous, like mysterious Russian prostitute, and like I don't know. I was just like.
What is that like? How do you play that?
I don't know. It's like, and recently, I think more like makes sense, like a doctors kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I guess yeah. I like it when there's space to like, for
to do
space.
things.
Yeah. But
Not
you know,
like
some people that are genius find the space or create the space everywhere.
It's just a method and approach. And what works for you personally.
I have zero methods. So,
yeah,
you know?
it's authenticity. That's a method, you know? It's like whatever feels natural and lifelike, like go with that. I feel like that's kind of missing in a lot of ways. Sometimes like people want to just go so deep into like, I'm this character for like 2 years, and if it's like, it's also what makes someone relatable is their human aspect and what they can bring into a role. And I felt like even in this movie, I could see Matt and you, big parts of yourselves in these characters, you know?
Yeah.
There's a natural kind of authenticity about it, which makes it, for the viewer, relatable. Because they're like, oh yeah, these are real people in a lot of ways. It's like, I can encounter these people on the street in so many ways, too. And they're flaws, they're goofy, you know, there's nothing perfect about them in that way.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to get into a point in the industry where that authenticity and relatability, people want to see people that look like them and that act like them, like people that they know. And, you know, not everyone sees Brad Pitt on the street every day, that sort of thing, unless you're in LA. But like around the country and world, that's just not common. And having these relatable people that look and speak like you, I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
Yeah. And it just makes...
You mean like a French woman who speaks like you?
Yeah, well, yeah, I can't pull that off, but that's impressive to me. And this is LA, so there's an ambulance going and another action-packed day out here, something happening. I want to kind of close it off by asking you, where do you see yourself kind of, I know when I hate when people are like, where do you see yourself in 10 years, but where would you like to see yourself? Because I don't know what I'm going to do in 5 minutes, much less 5 years, but how would you like to see kind of your career evolve? Is there any kind of thought that you have in your mind, or you're just letting things be day by day in a sense?
No, I actually am working on a project and on a TV show,
Playing a surgeon, right?
Exactly.
Making all these surgeons.
I'd like to create my own vehicle. I don't know how to pronounce Vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to create my own vehicle, or like.
I like it better when you say it. It sounds more fancy.
So yeah, I'm working on this. Yeah, I would love to like have, set something in TV or come up with a character and like something that that can involve and So I'm working on a couple of things, but I would definitely like to be more involved as a director, writer.
Okay, so you do want to branch out and try this. Now that you have the producer experience, it gives you perspective, right, behind the scenes and camera.
Yeah.
Which makes you more well-rounded that way too, cause
I'm also I love the documentary world, and I have a project with a French journalist, and so I have a lot of things that I'm trying to come up with, or they're completely different from one of the other. But yeah, it's somehow all of those projects are somehow very engaged, and I don't want to say politically engaged, but engaged in a human way. That means nothing. That I'm not making any sense.
It makes sense.
It's
sense. Deeper probably. It makes people think whoa, what is it really?
That sounds terrible, but anyway.
I think it sounds smart in that way. And how about in your personal life? Is there anything, are you looking for love, or are you content with how you are in your life right now? What do you kind of see for yourself or would want in that way?
I don't want to be proposed under the Eiffel Tower.
Really?
No.
And with a ring from someone else or anything? Nothing like that? I think that's been done already.
You know what I actually was thinking? I was talking with my daughter about getting married and all those things, and she was like, but you got married before. I was like, yeah, but I never really got the proposal in its most classical form, like you actually see in movies, with this big speech where someone is telling you why he wants to marry you. And I was like, I kind of want to go through this just once, the whole thing, this is why. Would you be my wife
because of all these
Yeah, I
reasons,
kind of want to like see that.
at a special
you know?
place, some location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like, oh really? Like she was surprised because I'm so modern and edgy and cool. It was like, yeah, she's like, oh okay, yeah.
Kind of unimpressed and surprised by
Yeah,
it.
she's like, yeah, oh really? You would like that? I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. I like
I
that.
don't care about diamonds though. I'm not a diamond person.
Mm-hmm.
But we need a ring.
Well, something to
Something.
It's like, hey, I got nothing, but
I
allegedly.
actually really like the scene in A Star Is Born where he's making the ring out of nothing.
Yeah.
I thought this was super charming.
And it's that creativity that we go back. The
Yeah.
small things that matter. It's the thought.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, that's more deeper and more important than something that you could just buy and give.
I agree.
That's always even like a handmade card or a note is so much better than one just picked up from the store. Right?
Oh,
It's just
of course.
extra personal touch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
I agree. Like, why buy a sweater when you can make one?
I can't. Just say, I could never make a sweater or anything like that.
I'm thinking of a boyfriend who's literally making a sweater.
Knitting all. It's like I knitted this for like 2 days. Okay, here it is. That's a keeper then, I would
know
say.
your dream was a Prada sweater, but look what I got you.
Yeah. It's like, well, I can't do that, but if you did that, more power to you. That's the kind of love that it's rare to find, that's for sure.
For sure.
Well, I noticed that we were under the Eiffel Tower and away with the poster this whole time.
Yeah.
It comes around full circle. I love the movie. I hope people go out and see it. It's going to be available on demand and VOD
Absolutely.
and in theaters, so check it out. I'm a lover of romance. Before we go, any favorite romantic movies that stand out to you that you have?
I mean, of course, When Harry Met Sally.
Classic.
But I also love the impossible love story in The Tenenbaums.
Ah, there you go. I like that.
Yeah.
It's off the radar in a sense and kind of unique in its own way.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I like that too. So there we go. Thank you, Judith. I already
welcome.
forgot how to say your last name.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I already forgot your last name.
Godreche.
No, Godreche.
Godreche. I'm gonna be like repeating. I'm gonna look it up somewhere and just like voice memo it and just going over it. I will get it one day, but it just doesn't sound as good as I do it when I do it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.